Well, hello everyone, and welcome to what is by now, I guess, the fifth rendition of this video. So the idea is basically just to give you a narrative introduction to the Crusade that we're playing. Now, the Crusade itself is called the Incan Escalation, which is a reference to the Inca sector, which is based round about here at the edge of the Ultima Segmentum. Now, the Inca sector itself has very, very little history within the lore. We know that it is ruled by trade guilds rather than by an actual proper imperial administration, and that outside of one trade conflict in M41 that actually got the Elder involved, that outside of that nothing much really happened inside this sector. But we all know the good old adage of Warhammer 40k, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. The descent into chaos for the Inca sector actually began with the creation of the Great Rift to its galactic northeast and the Siren's Storm to its galactic south. These two massive warp storms cut off basically all communication between the wider Imperium and the Inca sector. The Guildfather, who was at this point still in charge of running the Inca sector, received emergency messages from all over the sector regarding all kinds of weird warp phenomena. One of them actually really stood out, coming from the Tlacopan system in the Onan subsector. The message read, "Anomaly detected in system, requesting immediate assistance." Now, and this was really when the lack of a proper administration showed for the Inca subsector, because the Guildfather completely panicked, and he did the only thing that he could think of at that point, which was immediately ordering the entire sector defense fleet to investigate the Onan subsector, which is where the fun will begin. Upon entering the Tlacopan system, the fleet was notified by the local space station that a warp storm had actually disgorged a planet into the system's edge, alongside with the debris field. The local Imperials had already designated the planet Anomaly, named after the first recorded sighting of it. The fleet itself moved towards this new planet, nicknamed Anomaly, as soon as they could, foregoing any kind of tactics for the sake of speed. But as they approached the planet, well, disaster struck. The warp storms hadn't only knocked out all of the communication between the Imperium and the Inca sector, but they had also made any kind of scans outside of local system scans impossible. And as the fleet approached the planet, proximity alerts started blaring. Out of the darkness of deep space, a Tyranid splinter fleet emerged. The Imperial fleet attempted to stall their own advance and form any kind of a battle line, but they quickly found themselves in a pitched battle with a quickly advancing Tyranid fleet. Losses amounted very quickly on both sides, and after a short but gruesome battle, only the battlecruiser Turquoise Lord remained, facing off against 3 Kraken ships and a massive Tyranid hive ship. Trying to run away from this Tyranid fleet was not an option, because the Kraken ships would easily run down the battlecruiser, and that would leave the entire subsector open to the Tyranids. So the Admiral did the only thing that a proper Imperial commander would do, and that was order his ship on a collision course with the Tyranid hive ship. As the Krakens moved in on a picket line in front of him, the ship launched its proud torpedoes to clear its way. One of the Kraken ships needed to get out of the way, otherwise it would have been destroyed by the torpedoes. And as the Turquoise Lord raced onwards, he opened up a full broadside as they passed the remaining 2 Kraken ships. They were simply blown apart by the macro cannon broadsides as the battlecruiser fired all of its forward thrusters. And at the last moment, before impacting with the Tyranid hive ship, they fired the forward lance battery, which blew apart the hive ship's carapace. Bulkheads collapsed, and armor tore as the Turquoise Lord delved itself into the Tyranid hive ship and exploded its ship's core. The death of the hive ship sent a psychic shockwave through the Immaterium and real space alike. Now, for those of you who paid attention, Anomaly wasn't the only thing disgorged by the warp. Surrounding the planet was a debris field, and amongst this debris field
was a Space Hulk. There's quite a few of them flying around in the warp, so it's safe to say that it's not that strange for one to have popped out alongside a planet, for example. Now, the last remaining Kraken ship, having lost its guidance from the hive mind, instinctively saw this Space Hulk as the last possible remaining threat, and it threw itself onto the ship. Entangled, both of them crashed down to the surface of the planet, and thus starting the fun of our crusade.